This story is said to come from his diaries, not his published account of the trip, but something he held back and then later was suppressed by government authorities that found it frightening.
Among the 7 continents on Earth, none holds more mystery than Antarctica. As the southernmost and least habitable continent, this might not be surprising. However, despite its harsh conditions, Antarctica has been extensively explored in the past. So why do we still know so little about it? What if the truth about this mysterious continent is intentionally kept hidden from the public by the government? Join us today as we uncover the most fascinating UFO sighting captured in Antarctica and reveal the shocking details of Operation Highjump. The details of this mission will leave you shocked. On November 30th, 2012, a strange photograph was taken near Mossen Base in Antarctica, showing a disc-shaped object hovering in the sky. The photo quickly sparked a lot of interest, especially among UFO enthusiasts. What caught people's attention was that the object seemed to have a cockpit-like feature, making it look more like a ship than just a flying object. This unusual sighting has left many questioning what it really was. Some believe it could be an advanced human-made craft, while others think it might be something more mysterious, possibly even extraterrestrial. With Antarctica being a place of many hidden secrets and conspiracy theories, the sighting only fueled more speculation. Could it be linked to secret bases or technologies hidden in the icy expanse? Despite the buzz and ongoing investigations, no one has been able to come up with a clear answer. The photo hasn't been explained away by experts, leaving the mystery unsolved. It's been more than a decade since the photograph surfaced, and people are still trying to figure out what exactly they were looking at. Was it a UFO, a military experiment, or something else entirely? Whatever it was, the sighting at Mossen Base remains one of those strange, unexplained moments that keeps people wondering, and it's likely that the search for answers will continue for a long time. What do you think it was? Throughout history, nations have often disagreed and fought over land, but Antarctica seems to be an exception. This is largely due to the Antarctic Treaty, signed on December 1st, 1959, by 12 countries whose scientists had been active in Antarctica between 1957 and 1958. The treaty came into effect in 1961 and granted certain rights for exploration and scientific research to these nations. It established rules for conducting expeditions and prohibited any new territorial claims or the expansion of existing ones. Under the Antarctic Treaty, access to the continent is heavily restricted. This massive ice-covered land is a no-fly zone and requires special permission to visit. The activities of the treaty's member countries in Antarctica are shrouded in political secrecy. While the treaty now has 57 signatory nations, what these countries are doing on the continent remains highly classified. Some believe that the secrecy surrounding Antarctica is linked to a secret Nazi mission and the expeditions of American naval officer Admiral Byrd. Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd was a decorated military officer in the early 20th century. After graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1912, he joined the Navy, where he learned to fly at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Byrd served with distinction during World War and contributed to the Navy's first transatlantic flight in 1919 by developing navigational tools and techniques for NC flying boats. Despite his many achievements, Byrd is best known for his polar explorations, particularly in Antarctica. His journey into polar regions began in 1924 when he led a small naval aviation detachment during Commander Donald B. McMillan's Arctic expedition.
Little did I think, when we flew to the North Pole in 1926, this area, the contiguous islands and waters to our flight to the pole, would become one of the most important strategic areas on the face of the earth.
B. McMillan's Arctic expedition to western Greenland. This experience inspired Byrd's fascination with polar aviation, fueling his ambition to fly over both the North and South Poles. On May 9, 1926, Admiral Byrd and Floyd Bennett completed what was claimed to be the first airplane flight over the North Pole. They flew from Kings Bay, Spitsbergen, Norway, to the North Pole and back. Despite being awarded the U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor and celebrated as national heroes, doubts have since arisen about whether the pair truly completed the 16-hour, 2,618-mile flight. This would not be the only time Byrd's accomplishments were met with skepticism. Byrd also played a role in training World veteran and pilot Charles A. Lindbergh, who completed his famous solo transatlantic flight in May 1927. Inspired by Lindbergh's achievement, Byrd decided to make his own transatlantic flight, flying from west to east. In June 1927, he completed the journey in 42 hours, crash landing in bad weather near Vers-sur-Mer on the coast of Brittany, France. This feat earned Byrd another medal, this time from the French Legion of Honor, where he was recognized as an honorary commandant of the Legion. Following these accomplishments, Byrd decided to embark on what would become the most significant mission of his career. He announced his plans to explore the uncharted, ice-covered region of Antarctica. By 1929, Byrd had become so well known that billionaires like Edsel Ford and John D. Rockefeller Jr., along with the American public, provided financial support totaling about $400,000 to make his mission possible. Before Admiral Byrd ventured to explore Antarctica's continental shelf, the region had seen very little exploration. At the time, his expedition was one of the most well-documented, well-equipped, and widely recognized efforts to chart the territory. In October 1928, Byrd set sail for Antarctica and landed on the Ross Ice Shelf, where he established a supply base he called Little America. From this base, Byrd and his team conducted flights over the continent, surveying a range of high mountains that he named the Rockefeller Mountains, after one of the expedition's sponsors. He also named the surrounding area Marie Byrd Land in honor of his wife. From Little America, Byrd and a small crew of 3 embarked on a 19-hour round-trip flight to the South Pole, a significant achievement that earned him a promotion to Rear Admiral. This first expedition spanned from 1928 to 1930. Only 3 years later, Byrd organized a second expedition to Antarctica, which lasted from 1933 to 1935 and faced significant challenges. During this expedition, Byrd pushed further into Marie Byrd Land for scientific observations. He spent 5 months, from March to August 1934, at the Bowling Advanced Base, which was buried beneath the ice shelf. During this period, he endured extreme temperatures ranging from -50 degrees Celsius to -60 degrees Celsius. When Byrd was finally rescued, his health had deteriorated severely due to frostbite and carbon monoxide poisoning. Despite these hardships, Byrd returned to Antarctica for a third expedition in 1939. Just before the outbreak of Admiral Byrd led a third expedition to Antarctica as the head of the U.S. Antarctic Service, following a request from President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This marked the first of Byrd's expeditions to be funded and sponsored by the U.S. government, and it is believed that this was when secretive activities on the continent began. During this expedition, Byrd pushed deeper into Antarctica than ever before, reaching Thurston Island and significantly reducing the amount of unexplored territory on the continent. Admiral Byrd's most notable and controversial endeavor occurred after World War when he led Operation Highjump in 1947 and 1948. Sponsored by the U.S. Navy, this was the largest and most ambitious Antarctic expedition ever undertaken at the time. The operation involved a massive team of 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 25 airplanes. During the mission, Byrd's team successfully mapped and photographed approximately 537,500 square miles of the continent. While these efforts contributed valuable knowledge about Antarctica and resulted in numerous scientific discoveries, it is Operation Highjump that continues to spark controversy. Many believe that the Navy and the government withheld crucial details about the mission. It is said that Byrd encountered phenomena during the expedition that could alter our understanding of history and have profound implications for technological advancement. So, what is this secret that remains concealed from the public? Some researchers suggest that Admiral Byrd may have encountered Nazis in Antarctica during Operation Highjump. In 1938, as the world approached the brink of another major Global competition reached even Antarctica. While the region saw no direct combat, Hitler and the Nazis sought whale oil for their ships and aircraft. To secure this resource and establish a naval base, they organized the 1938 Third German Antarctic Expedition. This secretive expedition consisted of 33 members aboard the Schwabenland, a ship named after the German region of New Swabia. On January 29, 1939, the Schwabenland arrived at Queen Maud Land, a territory already claimed by Norway. There has long been speculation about the advanced nature of German technology during World War, with companies like Audi and BMW producing aircraft engines and vehicles for the Nazis. Some conspiracies suggest that this technology was far too sophisticated for its time and might have been provided by extraterrestrial beings allegedly encountered in Antarctica. For over 75 years, alternative researchers and authors have claimed that Germany established a base in Antarctica. During his quest to gain any advantage in the war, Hitler reportedly explored unconventional means, including mass destruction weapons and even the occult. According to one account, Hitler sent expeditions to locate the biblical Ark of the Covenant, hoping to use its supposed spiritual power against the Allies. In his relentless search for weapons that could ensure swift victory, Hitler is said to have been fascinated by the idea of a mystical Aryan race from which he hoped to acquire advanced, otherworldly technology. Some conspiracies claim that British intelligence monitored this alleged Antarctic base for years and even attempted an unsuccessful SAS raid in 1945. It is also speculated that Admiral Byrd's mission during Operation Highjump was not solely a scientific endeavor. Some believe he was sent to locate and destroy after barely surviving his prior Antarctic expedition. Adding to the intrigue, on July 10, 1945, a German U-boat, U-530, reportedly arrived at the Argentine naval base in Mar del Plata, near Buenos Aires. This arrival sparked rumors suggesting that among the passengers of the submarine were Adolf Hitler, Eva Braun, Martin Bormann, and other members of his inner circle. Conspiracy theorists claim that the submarine first landed on the coast of Antarctica before making its way to Mar del Plata. A week later, Ladislas Sabo, a Hungarian exile living in Argentina, published a detailed article in a local newspaper describing how Hitler and his entourage had allegedly escaped Germany. The story quickly gained traction worldwide, with various versions appearing in newspapers across different countries. On August 17th, another U-boat, 977, also arrived in Mar del Plata, further fueling speculation. One theory suggested that the Americans involved in Operation Highjump had discovered Base 211, but were repelled by the Germans, who supposedly used advanced weaponry obtained from the Ariane base. Base 211 was reportedly destroyed by nuclear in 1958. By the time of its destruction, the base was said to house hundreds or even thousands of people and was allegedly defended by advanced weaponry, including flying saucers. Many of these accounts assert that the British and American governments have suppressed facts and evidence explaining the lack of substantial proof to support these claims. For nearly a century, these speculations remained unsubstantiated until a key survivor of Admiral Byrd's Operation Highjump expedition resurfaced, providing previously unknown details about the mission. Admiral Byrd's diary included detailed accounts of his earlier expedition to Greenland and his historic flight across the Atlantic in 1927. The pages of the diary also contained his navigational calculations, along with photographs documenting these significant events, which are featured in the book. But why was this diary missing for so many years? It is believed that the government deliberately kept it hidden because it contained sensitive information they didn't want the public to uncover. The diary reportedly held esoteric knowledge about Operation Highjump that was classified and intended only for military and government personnel. In the winter of 1947, Admiral Byrd broadcasted his flight over Antarctica via a radio transmitter, reaching millions of Americans. However, something unusual occurred during the broadcast. Byrd lost connection for approximately 3 hours, during which no one could hear from him. When he finally resumed the broadcast, it was as though nothing out of the ordinary had happened. For years, the events of those 3 hours remained shrouded in mystery until the diary resurfaced. According to Byrd's account in the diary, he claimed to have discovered an uncharted land with forests and even prehistoric animals. Even more astonishingly, he described encountering flying discs belonging to a highly advanced civilization hidden deep within the hollow earth. The mystery deepened when the diary recounted a voice coming through Byrd's plane's radio, offering assistance in landing. Byrd described the voice as having a Nordic accent. Furthermore, the diary stated that after landing, Byrd and his crew were met by strange-looking beings who introduced themselves as the Ariani, the very beings Hitler was said to have been searching for in Antarctica. According to this account, Byrd and his crew were taken to a crystal city beneath the continental shield. This would be a groundbreaking discovery, as it could potentially solve the long-standing mystery of the Hollow Earth theory. Moreover, it would confirm the existence of the Ariani, a group of extraterrestrial beings who supposedly live in and govern a flourishing civilization within the Hollow Earth, and allegedly interacted with the Nazis during World War, according to conspiracy theorists. So, what exactly is the Hollow Earth theory? Similar to flat earthers who believe the Earth is flat, there are hollow earthers who believe the Earth is either completely hollow or contains an inner space within its crust. The concept was first proposed by scientist Edmund Halley in the late 17th century. The theory remains highly controversial, having sparked debate among scientists for centuries. It was disproven by Pierre Bouguer in 1740 and Charles Hutton in his Schiehallion experiment in 1774. However, the theory also has its supporters, such as John Cleves Sims Jr., who dedicated his life to convincing others of its validity, and J.N. Reynolds. While the theory hasn't been definitively proven, it gained considerable fame, with scholars like John Leslie suggesting a hollow Earth in his 1829 book, Elements of Natural Philosophy. In 1864, Jules Verne's novel Journey to the Center of the Earth depicted an expedition into the Earth's interior through the fictional Skartaris volcano in Iceland. Both Halley and Simes believed that the space between the Earth's shells could support life, which led to the theory of a hidden civilization existing there. If the claims in Byrd's alleged diary are true, they would serve as evidence supporting Simes's and Halley's theories, and they could reveal that government authorities suppressed this information upon Byrd's return from the expedition. The mysterious death of James Forrestal only adds to the intrigue. Byrd's decision to document the details in his diary may have been his way of ensuring the world learned of the secrets he was not allowed to disclose. According to history, after the Navy concluded Operation Highjump in Antarctica, they sailed to Chile before returning home. During a subsequent interview with a Chilean journalist, Byrd spoke about how the U.S. would soon face an enemy capable of flying from the North Pole to the South Pole. At the time, everyone assumed he was referring to the German Nazis, but after his diary was made public, people began to wonder if he was actually talking about the Ariani he encountered at the South Pole. Another incident that raised suspicions of a conspiracy surrounding the truth of the Antarctica expedition was the mysterious suicide of James Thawson Forrestal, the Secretary of Defense, shortly after Operation Highjump. Forrestal reportedly jumped out of a window at a psychiatric hospital in Maryland. Interestingly, Forrestal had been admitted to the institution after he started advocating for the existence of aliens. He was labeled insane by both the government and the media, ridiculed for his belief in extraterrestrial life. It's highly suspicious that the one person connected to Operation Highjump who was willing to discuss the existence of aliens ended up mentally unstable and suicidal in such a short time. Many still believe he was murdered, further strengthening the conspiracy theories that the government was concealing something about Antarctica. Of course, there is still no concrete evidence to support these theories, and there has been significant criticism of the Ariani and Hollow Earth ideas. The authenticity of Byrd's alleged diary continues to be questioned. The only known evidence supporting the Hollow Earth theory, and by extension, the existence of the Ariani, is found in Admiral Byrd's secret diary, which has been debunked by multiple scholars due to its lack of supporting evidence and inconsistencies. One of the first criticisms of the diary is that it's dated 1925, long before Operation Highjump, which took place in 1947. Another issue is that Byrd, a naval officer and rear admiral, was never in the Army, meaning he couldn't have been a colonel, as the diary suggests. Scientists have also dismissed the hollow Earth theory, explaining that the laws of gravity make it impossible for a hole to exist at the center of the Earth. One post reads, "This is why no one is allowed to visit Antarctica, and why every government in the world signed a treaty to conspire and hide the truth from the public." Below are top-secret lost photos from Admiral Byrd's Antarctic expedition, which allegedly show traces of a lost ancient advanced civilization. One of the most vocal critics of the diary's authenticity was Bernd Balken, one of Byrd's early associates, who claimed after Byrd's death that the flight to the North Pole had been a hoax. He alleged that Byrd's flight had never reached the North Pole, but had stopped just a few kilometers short before turning back. This revelation prompted scholars, historians, and scientists to ask, if something that was believed to be a fact for over 70 years turned out to be a hoax, how can we trust this new diary with its bold claims? When the diary resurfaced, the photos inside, which were believed to depict an ancient advanced civilization thought to be the Ariani, quickly went viral on social media. However, it was later revealed that the images were fabricated. They had been created using artificial intelligence and were not real historical photos from Admiral Byrd's expedition. Tim B., who wrote an article about the diary on Medium, admitted to fabricating the images, explaining they were generated by DALL-E 2, an AI tool from OpenAI. When asked why he created the images, he stated, "I want people to question their beliefs, examine their assumptions, and reflect on the changing media landscape and how these new technologies can be used for both good and harm. I want to show people what's possible and what to be cautious about. Whether the diary is genuine or not, it still raises questions about why the continent is surrounded by so much mystery. Do you think Hitler met aliens in Antarctica? Do you believe the government is hiding esoteric knowledge that could change how we view history? Share your thoughts in the comments section.